Welcome to First and 15, the only podcast that's trying to get you paid. I'm here with two-time FFPC champ AB. Alongside him is my guy, Dio the Machine. Guys, we are on day 2 of OTAs, and reports are coming out at the Kansas City Chiefs OTAs that Travis Kelce has, renewed enthusiasm, a new lease on life. They say he looks good, looks a little trim. Is it possible for Travis Kelce to give us another tight end one season?
Yeah. So I think you got to use the word tight end one. We probably got to define that a little bit better. Like finish as the top 12 tight end. I think likely.
I think define as top 12.
Okay, yeah, top 12. Yeah, I think
tight end one.
But that's not what Travis Kelce has been.
Yeah.
You know,
I meant like top end, tight end, like one
so that's
overall.
That is where it becomes a lot more questionable.
Yeah.
And I think I think I started off the draft season thinking like, man, Travis Kelce is going like in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. I think I was drafting him in the 8th round, and at one point I was like, all right, I'm not feeling comfortable with this. And that just basically was an evolutionary process as we started just to get more news that Rashee Rice was healthier. Rashee Rice was, an active participant in voluntary OTAs. We see that he's an active participant in mandatory minicamp, and he just looks healthier.
So your concern was target competition?
Oh, definitely target competition. It was very apparent at the beginning of last year that Rashee Rice was the featured alpha receiver in that offense last year, and he was running routes in the same part of the field that Travis Kelce was running. So a lot of those, sort of kind of looks and first read targets that Travis Kelce was getting in the past, they were going to Rashee Rice. And Rashee Rice, was a monster yak. He had that unfortunate knee injury, but he looked like he was on pace to really be a top 3, top 4 wide receiver. Now you add in Xavier Worthy another year in. I think, Xavier Worthy can take the top off of defense and maybe open things up a little bit more for Kelce.
Yeah.
Because I still feel like even in Kelce's old age last year, defenses were really kind of homed in on him.
Yeah,
they weren't like forgetting him. Like he was still getting double teamed, and I think that's when you saw a lot of Noah Gray sort of kind of had these spike weeks. I don't think it was because Noah Gray was just so much better than Travis Kelce. I think it's because Travis Kelce was taking 2, 3 defenders, and Noah Gray was running the seam wide open because people were just assuming it was just Noah Gray. So that offense is interesting to me because I've been out on Mahomes for a couple of years now, and literally out as in like having 0 shares for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And this may be a year where like he's still going higher than I would like, but I don't know, maybe I need to force some shares now that you have Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and even a Kelce, at an age. But I don't know. The question is he a value? I don't know. Is he a value where he is?
So it's crazy because if you would ask me this question before you started talking, I probably have a totally different answer right now. But just kind of listening to you processing it, kind of started making me go down this mental rabbit hole. But to answer your question initially, yes, I actually now think he's a value. And I don't know if I would have said that yesterday, but when I asked you the question, is the concern with Kelce the target competition? It was an adamant yes. It kind of made me think, okay, so if the target competition was not there, like if they removed the competition, where would Kelce be valued? And it sounds like with your kind of analysis, he would be a top end tight end. If you just remove those pieces. So that makes me wonder, okay, right now you're taking Kelce, you just said in like the 7th, 8th round.
Yep.
In the past, he's been a top 4, if not top 3, if not 2, if not a first round pick.
Yeah.
You're able to take this guy so late in the draft where pretty much you set all the other positions in your lineup in the draft.
Yeah.
He's even in a position where you can take Travis Kelce as your number 2 tight end.
Yeah.
So if you tell me you can get him there, and then we know crazy things happen through the season.
Yeah.
Football is a game of attrition, right? People get hurt. People have bad seasons. Offenses change it.
Yeah.
Defenses play teams differently. All these things can factor in that we're not considering happening now. But if it does happen, chaos. Football is a great game of chaos. Sports in general.
Yeah.
It's a great, beautiful mixture of chaos. If things play out a certain way, then Kelce can really be back in that same position that you are concerned he won't be in.
Yeah.
And if he is in that position and you're getting him so late, that's value.
Yeah.
Personally, me, again, before you started talking, I would have answered a different way. I'm more concerned with his age and just the fact that he might be falling off.
Yeah.
Agreed.
He
He didn't look the same way, in my opinion, as he as in the past last year. He looked like he just lost a step. Now, he hasn't always been a burner, but he was always kind of fast enough and quick enough to just kind of be able to create separation, beat a linebacker as needed, quick enough to make those moves. Now, it felt like he was playing more like Antonio Gates, like boxing people out, positioning.
Yeah.
And that game works, especially as a tight end.
Yeah.
That game works. But what made Kelce that high-end tight end one that used to dominate position in the years past was he's almost like a wide receiver slash wide receiver. I don't even know what else to say. Like, he's like a big wide receiver, and he was producing that way, and he was also the number one target.
Yeah.
Even with Tyreek Hill there, he was still producing as a number 2 target and still being trusted. Now, I will say this. I think one thing that kind of kept his value afloat last year is the touchdowns.
Yeah. No, he didn't score touchdowns last year.
He wasn't scoring touchdowns?
No, that was his issue.
Like maybe it was the playoffs. I don't know. I felt like there was this point where it's like, okay, he was scoring these touchdowns.
Yeah.
So that's what kept his value. If he doesn't have the touchdowns, I don't know. Yeah. Because I personally, I'm high on Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy this year.
Yeah.
I think just going into Worthy's second year, I think he can really show out quite a bit. I kind of like all the second-year receivers this year. Yeah. I think Rice, before he got hurt, was looking like he was going to have a top 5, if not top 10 season at the receiver position. Like you were mentioning in past episode, they play different parts of the field. Yeah. Worthy is a deep threat slash screen. Yeah. Take the end arounds. Rice is playing the intermediate role, slants, in routes. And those guys can both thrive. Of course, you still got Hollywood there. Yeah. Still got other pieces, Jalen Warriors, all these other pieces. Yeah. So there's definitely going to be target competition initially. But again, that wasn't my concern. I just think Kelce might have.
I will say this. I feel like there's 2 things have to happen for Kelce to, I feel like, exceed his value. One is last year was less about age and more about him just like being out of shape and not being right physically. And there's been some talk of that. And I saw that. Like, he looked big last year. And the reports are coming out that he looks slimmer down. So losing the weight is going to make you a lot quicker. Right. And there were like times where he was just leaving the field or he was, having to be taken down. He just looked tired and he looked worn out. And that maybe that's age. The other part is kind of what you were talking about with the touchdowns. I feel like last year it was a struggle for him and the offense in general.
Last year, Chris? I'm just curious.
Yeah, let me pull that up. But I feel like it was a struggle for him and the offense last year. And I feel like because I was heavily invested in Kelce last year.
Oh, really?
Almost, maybe not heavily, but I had enough to be like watching him in a lot of games and being upset watching Noah Gray take his touchdowns or take his targets. Right. And what I kept seeing is just like defense was really like just focused in on taking him away from the game.
You also got to understand though, they really didn't have anybody else.
Exactly. So I feel like a way he can win is like now that where defenses can't do that because you have Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. Somehow he sees a significant positive regression with TDs.
We're arguing the other side now. Maybe we're saying the fact that he does have target competition actually benefits him.
Yeah.
Because it takes away the attention.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, in the end, I'm probably not drafting where I'm drafting. I think there are other tight ends. To me, it's like a more of an opportunity cost. Like I feel like there are other guys I want to draft 6th, 7th round, including potential tight ends that I just want to bet on because I think the days of top 3 are low. So I want to put my chips on someone who could potentially be that top 3 guy.
Somebody ascending.
Yeah, but I want to go back to your Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice. So you think they both could hit?
I like both of them.
Yeah, I don't know about both of them.
I like both. And you just made the point. You were kind of going on the point, but you kind of stopped. But I think Patrick Mahomes is in for a potential career year.
I keep saying it though. I mean,
not really.
We said that the last 2
No, we did not. No, we did. I was very adamant about not drafting Patrick
We were
Mahomes.
saying revenge season last offseason.
But it wasn't a revenge season because think about it.
Meaning that offense wanted to be a high octane offense.
Right. Actually, you were right. The crazy thing though is I didn't end up drafting him. I think I started off wanting to draft him, but I think his ADP just didn't come down.
Again, first of all, regarding last year, let's not forget Hollywood got hurt in the beginning of the season. Yeah, Hollywood was a big part of their plans last year. He might have actually started the season as a wide receiver 1. Correct. It might not have ended that way, but I think they had visions of him being the main guy to start the season. Rice got hurt early. You know what I'm saying? Pacheco, I think, got hurt quick. Yeah. So they didn't really have the opportunity to kind of be a full octane.
Xavier Worthy was a rookie, and Kelce was like a shell of himself.
Right. Worthy wasn't there yet, right?
Yeah.
But the biggest reason I feel like there might be they might be in for a huge season is I feel like they don't have that worry or that pressure as far as worrying about getting a 3-peat. Yeah. I think last year the goal was to just win, get in the playoffs, get through the playoffs and win a Super Bowl. Yeah. Right. That was what was important. Like you saw them not like really, trying to blow out teams. They ended up winning a lot of games by a field goal or one score. And when they had games out of reach, they kind of took their foot off the gas. Right. Yeah. So this year, now that the 3-peat's totally off the table, why not go all in? Right. Like why not show? It's almost like I know a lot of people don't remember it, but the year prior to Brady going crazy and throwing those 50 touchdowns, he had like a mediocre season. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
They also brought in Randy Moss too.
They did bring in Randy Moss.
Now they're bringing in Rasheed Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Marquise Brown being healthy. What if they stay healthy?
Yeah, but those guys are not Randy Moss. But I get the point. Only
Randy
3 touchdowns.
Only 3 touchdowns last year.
Okay.
Yeah, and
actually, you got me like. You don't hear a lot of people like really being aggressive or talking about the idea of a KC stack. It's almost like we've been kind of like lulled to sleep. We
forgot a little bit,
like we forgot, and like Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes are definitely the type to be like, hey, don't forget, like,
straight up, like let's not like,
they have the
so and they have the weapons, they have the weapons there. And, here's another thing. And I want to throw out there that I haven't said to y'all, and I might be crazy, but I just want to put it out there early. Let's not ignore Elijah Mitchell on their team. I'm just going to put that out there. I ain't going to elaborate. But
I have no issues with that whatsoever.
Just remember, Deo said it.
The Chiefs backfield is a very, very tough one. And in FFPC, you get that first look.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, for me, I exclude Kareem Hunt. I just can't do that. But I get it if you can. But to me, it's almost like don't leave your draft without at least one of those running backs. And maybe like don't leave your draft without like one of the wide receivers. Even if it's Marquise Brown. Like
even Royal. I mean, I don't think Royal will start off the season hot, but he's a good prospect. And by the end of the season, I mean, it's weird, right? Because you start looking at the position and like I can see them all filling certain roles while not impeding on other people's, area, right? Or their expertise. Like, Rice was in the intermediate, but he was also kind of on the boundary intermediate. And he gets slants. Kelce can still work the middle of the field. Xavier can still go deep and get the hitches. I don't know where Hollywood's going to fit in, but like that team, everybody can play their role. Mahomes can be Mahomes and really like put it to the next gear, and all of them can hit value.
You know what we need? We need the defense to not be as good.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. Or, I mean, again, we've seen seasons where the Chiefs were beating a team, they would not take their foot off the gas.
Yeah. I will say this, though. Like, I had not been thinking about it before, and Patrick Mahomes was pretty much an afterthought. Like, I think I'm going to try to, like, even in a redraft scenario, try and get a couple of, like, Rasheed Rice, Xavier Worthy stacks.
Late. They're all, I mean, I'm not saying they're super late, but in the past, when you have a team like this, you end up, like, remember the year we were taking Tyreek Hill and Kelce in the first round?
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Both in the first round. Now you're getting Rice in, like, the third. You know what I'm saying? You're getting Worthy in the fourth, fifth. Roy is not getting drafted. Kelce, like you just said, is the eighth. Mahomes is, like, the seventh quarterback taken. Like, you can literally take all these guys. And 6 weeks in the season look like a genius.
And everybody's be like, and then everybody's gonna be like, how do we let this happen? How do we let this dude draft nothing but KC players? Like,
I know that we hate to look at strength of schedule and things like that, especially this early.
I like it. I like it.
But I do expect that division to be a lot better than it was last year.
Oh, for sure.
And so they may have to continue to put their
every offense in that division
got better.
Points this year.
And that's the thing. It's less about like a defense being tough. It's more about like what's Vegas point total.
Right.
Like that's what I care about. Like what's the Vegas point total? Vegas point total is high. Like are they projected to score a lot of points? And you're right. Chargers, Broncos, and man, I just got off. The FFP pop, like the Raiders, man. I'm telling you, man. We may be sleeping on the Raiders, man.
Oh, you know how I feel about the Raiders.
We sleeping. I'm telling you. I gave you credit for that one because like
Smith, people sleep. Because man,
Chip Kelly
running
that fast. Yeah, I mean they could be a division where it's like a lot of shootouts.
Everybody loves the Broncos this year. I mean, there could be points.
Yeah. All right, let's stay on the Broncos for a second because J.K. Dobbins gets signed, kind of muddies that backfield a bit. Also, hey man, I'm getting better.
You're getting better.
You know your shit. I like it. J.K. Dobbins signs with the Broncos. Also, Nick Chubb signs with the Texans. These are two backfields that we sort of felt like we had figured out, specifically with the Texans. We felt like Mixon was the starter, and the real question was going to be who was going to be the RB2 in that situation. Now Chubb is there. Does that sort of muddy up that Texans backfield? And then with Dobbins there, people were drafting, RJ Harvey really high. Does that muddy up that situation now?
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
So as far as it's at state of work. So as far as Mixon is concerned, I do believe Mixon is still a starter. Yeah. I actually think Mixon might remain as well. Let me not say that. I've seen crazier things, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I personally, at this moment, expect Mixon to remain the starter the whole season. I just think Chubb is going to take a major piece of the pie in that offense. I do not think Chubb is done at all. I think Chubb is one of those type of players, almost like your Derrick Henrys, your LeBrons, that they just have this different physique to them. Yeah. Like they're just built differently, right? Yeah. And he's had some crazy injuries and they suck, but there's certain times where we've seen people come back from crazy injuries, even soon. Sooner than what we expect. And not everybody human is built the same. And then look at Chubb's game. We're not talking about like a burner, even though he's super fast. He ran track in high school. He's not a burner. Mm-hmm. He's a run through your face, break tackles,
vision,
still not catch me from behind. Type of player. Also a leader on the team. You know, Mixon has been kind of injury prone lately. Mm-hmm. So I think they look at it as let's have a 2-head backfield. Like let's wear defenses out. Let's trust in our defense to kind of keep us in games, and let's go. And I think what's going to happen is Chubb is going to become more and more comfortable. He's going to become more confident, and then it's going to become a situation where we're looking at it as who's a better player, Mixon or Chubb. I mean, these guys came out of high school at the same time, so it's not even like a major age difference. Now you might say major injury again, 2 years out since that injury, and also a foot injury. So obviously those things could affect him, but if he again can get through that, I think there might be something there with a dual backfield. And looking at drafts, I would assume that would hurt Mixon right now. His value would obviously fall, but I don't even know where Chubb is going if he's being drafted at all. But I definitely think he should be drafted higher than what he was as far as perception. Now, on the flip side, as far as the Broncos,
let me get my take.
Okay, go ahead. By all means.
No, but I think I'm largely in agreement with you for the most part. That they didn't bring Chubb in to be some handcuff like that. Right. That he could have gone elsewhere. I think if you look at what this team is trying to do, they are trying to do a lot more than just make it to the playoffs.
Right.
And when you build a team like that, you want depth. Mm-hmm. And what we saw last year was everybody died.
Yep.
And the GM, the head coach, the entire organization acted accordingly. They drafted multiple wide receivers. They traded for Kirk. And now you see them sign. Yeah.
They got Kalen Bullock, Jimmy Ward, CJ Gardner, Jalen Petrie. They signed to an extension. It's two safeties on the field.
Leave no stone unturned. When it comes to Chubb, like you said, I think Mixon will still be the guy. Mixon was really, really good last year.
He was.
But even then, you saw, we had to, he was doing so much on his own, and we relied on him so much that we ran him into the ground. Yep. So we got to, keep him healthy. It's going to be an unfortunate situation. I never really felt like Mixon was going to exceed the volume he did last year because of that very reason.
Yeah,
I had this sick feeling that some other player was going to get involved.
He was also really efficient last year.
He was really. That's what I'm saying.
Touchdowns. I was like, wow, that's impressive.
11 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah. So he was. I mean, he was really good. But like you said, I don't know where Chubb is. So I feel like Mixon should not have been going in the 3rd and 4th round. He was not really going there. I think in some drafts I would see him there. But I felt like the 5th round was safe. That was kind of like the RB dead zone. So we're during parts of the year he was going to be useful. If Chubb is not Chubb or Chubb gets hurt again, now you got a back that's likely getting the far majority of the work. Mm-hmm. But what I'm realizing now is Chubb is going way too late. Yeah. Because Chubb is if Chubb is like just 80% of Chubb, like that's an elite handcuff, and he's going way after the other handcuffs.
Like Chubb has to bust for the Texans not to use him. Like they're committed to using him. You know, so it's not a situation like you say. He's not a handcuff. He's not sitting on the bench waiting for Mixon to get hurt or waiting for Mixon to get tired. Chubb is actually going to be part of the game plan. And again, we're talking about Nick Chubb. Let's not forget, right? Like I know major injury. Before that major injury in 2023, he was having a great season. Right.
He was. Top 7.
Let's not forget who this player is and disrespect him. I mean, he's older, but there's older running backs in the NFL right now. Aaron Jones, I think, is older than him. You know, obviously, Derrick Henry's older than him. Like the guy, maybe even McCaffrey might be older than him. Maybe they're the same age, but the guy might have something left in there, and again, that'll be a great value.
Here's the only thing that scares me. Just looking at the stats right quick, Joe Mixon finished as RB11 with 11 touchdowns. He's only scored double-digit touchdowns once in his career. That was in 2021. Can we really expect him to do it again for the Texans offense now that we know that someone may come in and take some of that goal line
not to mention, we haven't even talked about the rookie they traded up for, Woody Marks.
Right.
Like Woody Marks is going to be involved. You don't trade up. You don't give up a third round the next year in the 4th round to draft a running back you're not going to use. Obviously, he's not going to start. A lot of people are even considering maybe he might be the running back 2 this year. Obviously, with Chubb being added, that potential kind of takes a knot. But he's still a receiving back. Mixon and Chubb, we know they can catch the ball, but that's not what they're typically known as. This guy led the NCAA, I believe, in catches as a running back last year from USC. So they're going to have a role for him. So obviously, that's going to put or take a hit to Mixon's value as well.
I'll tell you what, if Woody Marks or Dare Ogunbowale, if either of those guys are the hurry up and the third down back, I want no parts of this backfield. I mean, I really haven't been drafting much of them anyway, but like you can't one of these guys has to be in there on third down. And Chubb is not your traditional third down back.
Right.
Mixon has played third down in the past, but it's not like he's like this elite third down back. They sort of kind of relieved him of that. So we really don't even know what the offensive coordinator, what is this offense going to truly look like from this? I mean, from really any standpoint. So there are a lot of question marks, and you're right.
Let's look at it, right? Caley, he just last year came from the Rams with McVay, but
with the Patriots before that,
with the Patriots before that, with the Patriots. That's kind of how I think the connection is with Caserio and him. And the Patriots, we know, especially with Josh McDaniels, has used
multiple backs,
literally in the same game.
Their backs have roles,
right? So I wouldn't be shocked that literally they have a role for all 3, maybe even a 4th running back. And that's just how their offense is, because the point you made, they're not playing to just have a good record or to just get through the season. They have high aspirations. They're trying to get in the playoffs and make a run. Like they know the window is small with CJ Stroud, so they're really trying to go all in right now. So
I think right now, I'm hands off. I'm not really drafting any of those guys because you really got to fall to a significant part, because I got to be able to see a clear path where
no, with all that
X happens, and then you can win me my league. If 2 things need to happen for you to win me my league, then I can't be drafting you in the 5th, 6th round.
With all that being said, let's not forget, we'll be remiss not to mention the fact that Mixon is hurt right now. Apparently, I haven't seen it, but they're saying he's had a boot on his foot.
Boots off, but he had a boot on his foot.
So, and I don't even know if they really said exactly what the reason for it is, but some have speculated it might even be have something to do with the ankle injury he suffered last year. He's still not totally over it, which is kind of scary, right? Texas ain't playing since January, so we'll see how that goes. Right now, in minicamp and OTAs, neither Joe Mixon nor Dameon Pierce has practiced.
And Ogunbowale seems to be taking first.
Ogunbowale taking first reps.
They
got other guys there.
And he's my bet, honestly, to kind of still be the second down hurry up guy, because he's done a really good job in that role. But I mean, I guess enough Texans talk.
All right, so let's talk about the Broncos.
I was going to say we didn't mention about Harvey.
So RJ Harvey is going back end of the 4th for the most part.
Man, he was getting up to the 3rd round. So
that's nuts.
I was pre-draft. I was a huge RJ Harvey was probably my top
pre-draft.
Pre-draft.
Pre-Broncos drafting in the
he was one of my top
second round.
own running backs. Him and Kenneth Walker, my number 1 and number 2. Post-draft, I was getting a little bit, and then once he started getting above 6th, 7th round, I was like, all right, I'm out for now because I got plenty of shares.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point, and I just, it was still one of those tough situations.
You were drafting pre-draft. You drafted.
Oh man, I got tons of team free draft. That's what. Look, you see the advantage. I mean, that's like 10th, 11th round RJ Harvey.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens with those. But my issue with like drafting that high was like he's a rookie, and I don't necessarily know that you see a situation where coaches feel so comfortable putting a rookie in 2-minute, 4-minute, hurry up, third down rolls right away. Maybe he gets there eventually, but like to me that hurts him. And again, you guys seen pictures of RJ Harvey. He is not like this scat back like Alvin Kamara type. He's to me a really good runner, and I just felt like he could end up in a really good situation. And to me, that was a really good situation. But you also had a history of Sean Payton using multiple backs, and so bringing in J.K. Dobbins, I think definitely affects that more. But honestly, I don't necessarily know that it changes much at all. I just felt like, to me, it feels like I felt like Audric, Estime, Jaleel McLaughlin were just not it, and you could just sort of kind of hear the tea leaves.
Tyler Beatty.
I don't think he was happy with any of those backs. And there was another guy too, not even Tyler Beatty. There was a guy before. What's his name? I forget his name. But I just don't think Sean Payton was really happy with any of his backs. That's why he spent an early or a second round draft pick on RJ Harvey. And to me, the J.K. Dobbins was like, hey, like let's get an adult in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's make sure that we are a playoff team. Like, let's make sure we have horses in this room. Yeah. I do not want to go into the season and potential postseason with a rookie and then Jaleel McLaughlin, or a rookie and Audric Estime. So let's get into J.K. Dobbins.
I can see that.
But for me, J.K., watching him play last year, I know, fantasy wise, he looked like he did pretty good. But to me, the eye test, I just he left a lot to be desired for me. So I'm still on RJ Harvey if his ADP starts to drop 7th round and lower. That's to me the money spots. 6th round if you maybe are doing a 0 RB, but I never understood reaching in the 3rd round. They just never made sense to me.
The thing about J.K. Dobbins, just kind of looking through the numbers, is that he was pretty efficient, scored a lot of touchdowns. They didn't really have another option. We thought Kamani Vidal was going to be.
They used Gus a little bit. Gus
but then Gus got.
Gus was terrible last year too.
So, I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case playing with this Broncos offense. But Dio, what do you think about that offense now? But you were never really high on Harvey, right?
I wasn't as high as everybody else. But I mean, that's his value is what his value is. I don't really care about that. I think Dobbins though is good. I actually think Dobbins is. Dobbins is not old, right?
Yeah.
He's 26, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very young for a running back. And I think last year, coming off of injury, remember last year he had a prove-it deal with the Chargers.
Yep.
He signed real late.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody believed in him as far as being healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He came in the season. I think he won the starting job out the gate, and he started off the season kind of strong, right? And that's the guy actually coming off of injury. So usually they say it takes a year or two to really get back to where you were. He looked good last year.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, he was efficient. He probably lost a little bit of speed, which that's to kind of be expected a little bit.
He got hurt last year too, though, right?
He did get hurt.
Yeah,
He
missed
got hurt
about 4
at the
games.
end of the season. But I think he played well enough to where teams should have considered bringing him in as a running back, if not running back 1, at least running back 2. I think he showed well enough. He's somebody that's experienced. He can pass protect. Again, he led the team last year for the Chargers. I don't think that's an ideal role for him, but he did it. You know, and they leaned on him, and again, he was successful with it. So now that he's with the Broncos, and you just made a great point, they need an adult in the room. He's the adult. He's the one where all the coaches, when they look around, they're like, who can we trust?
Yeah,
I would assume it'll be Dobbins. You know, they don't really have any long-term rapport with anybody else. They just drafted Harvey, so they're just getting to know him. McLaughlin, they've known him this is the second year. Estime, sorry. He was hurt so much last year. So it's like Dobbins, and don't forget, they saw Dobbins twice a year last year, being a division opponent. So again, I think Dobbins is good. Now, how the Broncos tend to use him, I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell Sean Payton is thinking sometimes. I was listening to something the other day. This guy was giving Lil Jordan Humphrey reps last year as wide receiver. Like, what are we doing here? Like, is it just because you cool with them, or are you just playing with everybody?
I
remember week 1 last year, Devon Vele went crazy. Had like 20 catches, and then the next week he did nothing. Like, what are we doing?
I think a lot of it.
What he has.
No, I think a lot of it is just like he does not have his guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think he inherited a lot of guys, and he just sort of kind of have to deal with it. He knows he had a long leash, and he actually obviously they made the playoffs last year, so he's shown improvement. So I think now it's like just a matter of getting his guys, and I think if he gets his guys, he lets his guys run. I'll say one last thing about Dobbins is, I think it's important to note that, like, basically he signed for, I think, less money than Najee Harris.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, like, the Chargers decided, no, we don't want you. We're going to just sign Najee Harris and pay him more money. So that's one thing. And then the second thing, just completely forgot, so we can move on.
But then it makes me wonder, like, the Chargers didn't know what they were doing, because then they backdoor and draft Amari Hampton in the first round.
Right.
Like, you could have had Dobbins play the running back role.
They didn't want him.
I'm just saying you could have had it and then had Hampton, your first round pick, actually take that position. Yeah. Like, there's really no need for you to pay such high money to a guy to be eventually replaced in the middle of the season. But I'll say one other thing. What I do wonder about is, I wonder one or two things.
Mm-hmm.
Were the Broncos looking for a running back, and they just happened to get an agreement with Dobbins, and it played out that way? Or were they targeting Dobbins? Did they specifically want Dobbins? Like, that tells me one or two things. Because if they were just looking for a running back, it tells me maybe they didn't really trust what they had in the room. If they were targeting Dobbins, maybe they really do like Dobbins, and they might think he might.
But why not take Dobbins earlier then?
What's the rush? There's no rush to do any of that stuff. Keep in mind, one thing the Aaron Rodgers thing did show me, right, was I don't think any of these players give a damn about OTAs.
No.
Anything prior to OTAs doesn't really matter to them. Mm-hmm. But once minicamp starts, that's when people start making decisions. Chubb,
because they got to make
Rodgers, Dobbins. That's when they actually take it seriously. So, I mean,
this is what I was gonna say. This is actually more just sort of kind of directed at, like, the Dobbins doesn't do anything to RJ Harvey. If Dobbins worries you, then you shouldn't be. I think I saw a tweet. If Dobbins worries you, you shouldn't have been drafting RJ Harvey. I feel like when people say things like that, it doesn't really offer a lot of context, because really it just depends. Like, it's all about cost opportunity. Like, if I'm drafting Harvey in the 7th, 8th round, then it doesn't matter. I could draft both him and J.K. Dobbins, in redraft, best ball, whatever format. But if you're drafting, R.J. Harvey in the 3rd round, then yes, it matters.
Yeah,
like, it mattered even before J.K. Dobbins got there. And then, like, J.K. Dobbins is, like, going to have zero role or zero impact. Like, to me, it's still telling. Like, that is very different. Like, if J.K. Dobbins didn't show there, I think so little of Audric Estime that I felt like, there's a decent chance that, like, RJ Harvey would have been, like, a potential, 3 down or workhorse back. But now with J.K. Dobbins, like, I feel like that's less of the case. Because J.K. wants his money too. J.K. wants another contract. J.K. is not just going to go someplace where the coach and the organization is telling him, like, hey, we're just bringing you in just to be a handcuff.
Right.
Why sign that type of deal to that low amount of money?
Yeah. Let's stay on running backs for a second.
They're coming.
Let's stay on running backs for a second. CMC is at OTAs. I've seen some videos of him cutting. Looks good. Obviously missed pretty much all of last season. Missed all of last season. To CMC or to not CMC? Are you guys, thinking that CMC can give us one more magical season? Or are you just thinking that, hey, he goes back in the second? That's too rich for my blood. I can't do CMC.
Do we have? You're funny, by the way.
What?
Do we have my rankings going across?
We don't have a ranking.
Oh, okay, so
because the way that the software kind of works, it doesn't.
Okay. Remember last year when you were like CMC 101 regardless? Mm-hmm. Actually, we've been doing this for 3 years now.
Yeah.
So last year kind of went back to, like, not drafting the 101 back-to-back, because especially a running back, because of, like, just a large workload. Mm-hmm. Like, just play the odds and just avoid.
Yeah.
To me, it was a huge avoid. But the other big thing was like he forced himself to play in that last playoff game. I think it was a Super Bowl for them actually, and he was coming off an injury in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it was just like this guy has seen not such a huge workload during the regular season, but also through the playoffs, and was injured going into the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So he was just like the easiest avoid ever.
Mm-hmm.
The year before it was like all in on CMC. And it's sort of kind of been one of those things that maybe it's less about CMC. I get that he gets injured, but also more about like, hey, like if a player like that has a major workload, just back off.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's had almost an entire year.
Yeah.
And in my mind, like CMC could be the 101 running back or be the top run. He could be the 101 period. Like he could literally be the 101 period. There's no Debo. Ayuk is hurt. Jawan Jennings and Pearsall, sure, great. But like
Mason is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like CMC to me, like like people are scared to say it. CMC is like he's the number one running back. He is the number one running back. Okay. I'm not saying you have to draft him that way. You obviously don't. And I understand that like, you want to take into account like Bijan, a potential upside with that, him being young.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he gets a little bit more in the passing game, although I don't know why he was not efficient in the passing game with Penix.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of sent a text around and a tweet around, and some people had some interesting takes on that. We'll see. I don't know. I think he'll get his receptions, but either way, like CMC could like get there with touchdowns,
mm-hmm.
get there with receptions. Nobody is going to be surprised if CMC has 80 plus receptions
mm-hmm.
next year. You're going to look back and say that's not surprising at all.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a little bit surprised that he stayed healthy, but you're not going to be surprised if he has 80 plus receptions.
Yeah.
You're not going to be surprised if he has 15 plus touchdowns in that offensive line. Trent Williams came back. There was a clip out of him to talk about, I'm not ready for retire. I still feel like I got a lot left in my tank. I'm excited. I'm ready. Obviously, CMC is reported to be healthy. He's healthy right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because I love so many guys at the end of that background, and there are a lot of like running backs I like a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I mean, at some point I just gotta like, I'm gonna just be smashing a button on CMC. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. But do you see him in the same like area as Gibbs?
Yes. There's no difference. Honestly, like CMC should be going ahead of Gibbs. You're still with Gibbs. You still have to wish and hope that they don't use David Montgomery as much. Yeah. You have to wish and hope that the offense is sufficient. You have to wish and hope that the offensive line is as good without Ragnow now. They lost a couple of different O-linemen now. You got to do a lot of wishing and hoping. And then Gibbs is coming off like a year where he's seen like maybe more touches than he's ever seen in his career. Like we talk about these veterans as if like they are all these injury risk, and maybe slightly, I guess, based on numbers, but like rookies get hurt all the time. Rookies get hurt. Wide receivers get hurt. Young ones get hurt. Like they're not immune from getting hurt. So like the injury argument, you can't always just like exclude and just assume. Like nobody, like again, I always bring this up. Gentry could never get hurt. Like that dude's untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
Gentry, sorry, yeah. Gentry could never get hurt. Like in your mind, like when you draft, do you ever think like there's a risk that he could get hurt?
No.
Nobody ever.
He's a rookie, so you just assume that.
Yeah, you know how because his handcuff doesn't get drafted. I get that we don't think about it, but nobody even like nobody even cares to think about who his handcuff is.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we talked about like Chip Kelly and what his running backs have done in the past, nobody cares to draft his running backs because Gentry in our minds cannot get hurt. But yet he had one of the most touches by a running back in collegiate history last year.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys can get hurt. So yeah, CMC, like I said, you don't have to draft him there, but like he really, if he stays healthy, like there's no surprise that like I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's like easily the 101 over everybody.
Yeah. Here's the thing, like Saquon obviously was the top running back last season. But obviously like all the carries, his injury history.
Y'all can have him.
Like that's another thing. Yeah. And he also has a quarterback that can take some goal line touchdowns as well, where CMC, I don't think we see Purdy as
he was hyper efficient too. He didn't do a lot in the passing game.
Right. Dial, what do you think? CMC, are you on the train of drafting CMC top end of the second round?
Oh, okay. So first off,
mm-hmm.
we've been doing this for 5 years, not 3 years.
No, I'm saying the last 3 years he's been flip-flopping on CMC. Okay. You've been like off.
Yeah.
We've been doing this show for 5 years.
Yeah.
Get that straight.
Yeah.
And then second off, before I get to CMC, is I think part of the reason people are not sure who the Raiders handcuff is, even though I'm pretty sure it's Mostert, as
Me too.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
But I think people are just not totally locked in on him being the handcuff. You know, he's 33 years old. You know, he kind of looked like he kind of took a step back last year, and I think maybe people might just forgot he even signed with the Raiders. Like, it was out of sight, out of mind. You don't hear anything about it. And then this might be sacrilegious, right? And it's crazy that I'm even thinking to even say this, but I think there's a chance that Bowers is overvalued right now. Just a small chance.
I agree.
And it has nothing to do with his talent.
Agreed.
But I think he has so many other people on that offense now that could be useful, including somebody that's drafted in the first round with him that he didn't have last year, that might take away some of that production. Some of it, you know, and new offense, so we know we can't guarantee he's going to be used the exact same way.
That's the biggest thing.
You even mentioned the rookie. I don't know if you said his name, Deontay Thornton.
Yeah.
He was the second wide receiver rookie. Like, we haven't even talked about Jack Bench
6'4",
yet,
6'5".
So I mean, and then on top of all that, I don't think Michael Mayers did. The dude is like, he's still only like 24, 23.
And he drafted him high too.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, he was a second round pick. Like, we're looking at a team that is not struggling to find options, right? If Bowers hits this year, which again most people are betting on that, and I'm not bold enough to put my money that it won't happen. But if Bowers hits this year, it has to be because everybody else just doesn't do as much. Or a lot of potential options.
Or Chip Kelly is like, you are the guy, we're going to spam. But that to me, like what you said, like, we don't know how they're going to use him. I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but like, is he going to get spammed the targets that he was?
Yeah.
So for me, like, I'll get like a couple of Bowers, but like, honestly, like, my money is just on McBride.
Yeah, I'm not even saying don't draft Bowers. Like, you might be saying that. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
I just want to put it, because I talked to my boy Dorsey. Shout out to Dorsey if you're listening, but I talk to Dorsey about this all the time. Whenever people look at a player and everybody just like of course, like, let's move on, right? It's not like we don't even spend time to think about it.
Yeah.
And I think Bowers is in that situation this year.
That's a good
Like, there's no discussion about Bowers.
That's a good point.
Easy click, tight end one, let's move on. Who else?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think every player is nuanced to some effect.
Yeah.
I mean, Chase, we can talk about Chase. Like, if you really want to dig into Chase, we can talk about Jamar Chase's outlook. But specifically right now with Bowers, I think we just have to be careful. And again, and you're not even getting a value on him right now, right? I feel like if you're drafting right now, you're drafting him at his ceiling. And maybe not so much. Maybe his ceiling is 101, but still you're drafting close to his ceiling.
Yeah.
Just be careful.
For the last like 2 or 3 years, like I'm telling, like you could have gotten like the number 1 RB, number 1 wide receiver, like at the back end of the first round. You know?
Yeah.
So I think they are, you know, on an FFPC pod earlier today, and they asked, like, you know, okay, like, well, who could be the, 101 if Chase, not likely to be Chase? Because the betting odds is that it's not going to be Chase. Like, if you just,
I told you, I'm not drafting. It's 101s.
I'm not that far, but like,
I'm not drafting Chase this year. I don't care.
But if you're just a betting person, then you should bet the field over Chase.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Like, you just bet the field.
101 of the field, bet the field.
So how large is that field of potential people who can finish number 1, like 101? And to me, it's like 12, 13, 14 guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But okay, so now to answer your question, I am also a C-Mac believer this year. So I was watching Abby draft. Like, when the first time I started actually seeing how these FFPC drafts were going, it was one of Abby's drafts. And I remember watching, I was like looking at all the first round picks going. I was like, wait, is C-Mac going to make it to the second round? And he ended up going like 202 or 203.
Yeah.
And Abby was like, oh, yeah, that's where he's going now. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you talking about C-Mac, right?
Yeah.
And again, I get it. You come out, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe I should make a team one year where it's like I just draft nothing but players coming off of injuries.
Yeah.
Because like we devalue all of them.
Yeah.
Like, if they're coming back, players come back healthy all the time, right? And if you wait to see them truly healthy and at their value,
you're never
going to
get
too
value.
expensive at that point. Like, right now, this is the value to get them. We know what C-Mac can do.
Yeah.
Right? Bro, I'm going to tell you right now, if AB was signed by a team right now,
AB who?
Antonio Brown?
No.
I would consider drafting this man.
I would definitely draft him.
So I'm not saying
I'm not drafting him.
I would definitely draft him.
because once I've seen a guy have that type of production that they can do it.
No.
Oh, you showed me all I need to see.
You get like 1-2 games out before he like goes like
Oh, that's
crazy.
But I was
maybe 1-2 games.
I was drafted. So yeah, I'm high on C-Mac this year. I mean, I was looking at drafts, man. So I'm high on Neighbors this year.
Mm-hmm.
I would take Neighbors before Puka. I would probably take C-Mac after Neighbors. And I haven't given you my rankings. I might do my rankings this year, so you can put on the scroll the ticker as well.
Yeah,
but
we gotta get that going. Dale putting out.
I would take
C-Mac. Get that going.
I would take C-Mac as high as like 106.
Yeah,
107 and shit. I don't know if I have him above Gibbs yet because I think, and y'all know how I feel about these young guys. I feel like they're still on the ascension. Like they can still get better.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if C-Mac can get better than what we've seen, even though what we've seen is 101 value. But I don't know if he can like reach another level.
Yeah.
While Gibbs, I think like he can reach another level. You know, so
all right. So you clearly not moving your boy A-Chain up then.
Oh no, A-Chain's right behind him.
All right, so you got just top 5 running backs.
Right behind him.
So, but you got Gibbs.
You want me to rank him right now?
You forgot Bijan.
You want me to rank him right now?
Yeah.
I haven't wrapped my mind around Barkley and Gibbs yet. I'm sorry, Barkley and Bijan yet.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to go Bijan first.
Yeah.
All right.
And Gibbs second, and Barkley third. Because Barkley, those touches last year scared me.
Yeah.
And he was so efficient, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he could reproduce that. So I would probably go, if feet to the fire, I would go Bijan, Gibbs, Barkley, C-Mac, A-Chain.
All right. That's fair.
Like easy. Like
you used to call A-Chain like the best running back.
A-Chain the guy.
No, he should be the best and still not be utilized, right? Like if I knew the Dolphins were gonna like go all in on it. Okay, put it like this. If I knew the Dolphins were gonna use A-Chain the way the Niners used to use C-Mac, oh yeah, 101. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
All right.
And had the O-line.
Yeah.
What? 101. Matter of fact, I'll be trying to get in as many drafts as I can to see if I can get more A-Chain.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about elite quarterbacks. Normally, I think, sharp drafters always try to find that late round quarterback who can hit. Is this the year to draft elite quarterbacks early? I mean, obviously those top few quarterbacks, but you get your Josh Allens, Lamars, and then Daniels. Is this the year to draft a top end quarterback early, or do you guys still try to find that late round quarterback? Just open it up, man. Like just
they'll know, right?
Just stone cold it, man. Yeah. Just stone cold it, man. Just stone cold.
No, but I guess since I interrupted, I'll talk on it first. So I was the one that gave you this question to ask. Because, crazy enough, I don't really have an answer. Like, I feel like this is a year to get. Like, I want the elites. Like, I have no problem with you drafting. And by the way, I have Josh Allen as my number 3 quarterback this year. I have Lamar number 1, Jaden Daniels number 2, Allen number 3, but they're so close, right? Honestly, you can't go wrong with any of them. And then after that, of course, your Hurts, your Burrow.
Yeah.
And then
should Burrow really be that high though?
I believe so. I think that defense is still going to struggle.
Yeah.
And they have the offense.
Mightily.
They're going to do fireworks. Like
fair enough.
And then talking today, I think I might need to consider moving Mahomes up a little bit. But if you don't get one of the elites, I actually believe in waiting. Like, I don't think you should say, oh, those top 6 guys went, let me hurry up and get like Baker Mayfield, right? Or
absolutely not.
Or I don't even know who's going there. Kyler. Like, I don't want Kyler this year. I don't want those type of players. I want those later quarterbacks that I think can still hit.
Yeah.
Bo Nix, I feel like used to go late. I don't know where he's going now. I think he's kind of moving up. He might be being outpriced where I want him now. But if that's the case, I'm looking at McCarthy. I'm looking at Drake May.
Yeah.
Like, I even still kind of like Dak. I don't know where Dak's going now, but I think Dak is kind of undervalued. Just 2 years ago, he had a great season. Coming off another one of those players coming off injury. His value just depresses. But I'm waiting on a quarterback, and I'm probably taking 2, if not 3 quarterbacks. But again, I don't go in a draft saying
that's the way.
I don't go in a draft saying I'm going to take a late quarterback, or I'm going to take one of the top 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah.
I like to let the draft kind of, play out the way it plays out and let it fall the way it falls. So, I don't know. Abby, what are your thoughts? What are you doing? I know let me not steal your thunder, but go ahead.
No, see, people used to laugh at me and used to make fun and used to say, why is this guy taking multiple? Why are you drafting 3 quarterbacks? There's reason behind the madness, okay? Number one, quarterbacks score the most points in your starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And it only took one team. I drafted one team a couple of years back where it was Matt. I remember this. Matt Ryan was a starting quarterback. This team was so elite when I tell you, like, it had everybody. And somehow this team did not make the finals. And this team, like, I'm watching the points to score like weeks 15, 16, 17, watching this team just dominate, not in the tournament, because Matt Ryan kept me. I said from that point, never again. Never again will I be so careless.
You had a dud or something?
It was one of those years where he was so difficult to predict when to start, or at least I was just making the wrong start decisions, you know. And he just had a very, very bad year.
Yeah.
And it was also the last year where I was like, never again am I just drafting, or will I only draft like a pocket passer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, unless there's like a special situation. Like last year was Burrow for me, but I was just like, why am I like dedicating so little resources to a position that scores the most points?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And these guys come out of nowhere so from that point on, I was like, I'm always drafting multiple quarterbacks. I want to hit, and then I want to make sure that you don't have that quarterback. And for years I would do that. Lamar, people forget, Lamar was late. Lamar was a late quarterback. Josh Allen was a late quarterback. Now, when I had that Allen Diggs stack, the Lamar Andrew stack.
Yeah.
Last year, top owned quarterback Jaden Daniels was late.
Yeah.
And it was like the easiest click ever. So like you don't. It's not like you're like, oh, I'm only gonna draft this one guy, and then like I gotta my entire team is going to be dependent on how. No, you draft multiple guys, so you figure it out.
So are you on the late quarterback train? Are you basically
like you can draft quarterbacks however you want. I feel like you can get away with drafting quarterbacks however you want. I feel like you can take them early if you want to get that advantage and you want to try to build this super team. Like maybe you feel like you can get in the draft and you just want to play the odds of being in a draft where like value just falls to you. So not only do you have like a super team, you also got a super quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to play it if you can. I personally usually don't take that approach unless they like fall or unless I'm trying to get shares.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't like drafting the middle quarterback. That's why I don't get a lot of Mahomes basically or have any Mahomes because he like goes in those mid rounds where I still feel like I can draft starters and draft guys who could potentially like end up wide receiver ones or end up running back ones, those like, odd or ambiguous situations. Right. So I like waiting late. And I have like a couple guys who I just like I'll tell you right now. My top owned quarterbacks are Brock Purdy. Because he just was going super late. He still goes really late. I don't think people realize points per game and how efficient he was with how little he had last year. And then they just signed this man. Imagine if they really start to use him in the passing game. They start to really go 3 wide receiver sets. And then you got C-Mac who can just take a dump off and go 60 yards potentially. J.J. McCarthy was just free. It was just the easiest free. And that's an offense that is like the likes of Nick. You can say that Nick Mullins, Dobbs, Sam Darnold.
I'll give you that.
Remind yourself what you were thinking of these quarterbacks before and they were putting up 25, 30 plus points.
Or even look at it in a micro view. Like Justin Jefferson is a top 5 draft pick. Addison is a top pick. Hawkinson is a top. Like all these other pieces around him are going high. Obviously, he has to get the ball in their hands. Every time they score, he's scoring.
That's one of the cheat codes.
Not to mention he runs.
Yeah. That's one of the, exactly. And people don't realize he runs. And I'm not sure like how much he's going to run coming off the injury, but he's had a long time to heal. And that running capability to me is like in the back of my mind.
So early. Like the injury was in the off in camp.
Yeah. That potential that he could run is like people don't realize like he could be a Konami code. So he's definitely up there. But like what you said, one of the easiest ways to figure out who's a steal and value at quarterback is to like look at a team and see how many of their receiving options are being drafted high and how many of and where their quarterback is going. And if there's a disconnect there, they're probably being undervalued for the most part. And so, but the guy that I'm like getting on now,
Mm-hmm.
who I feel like is becoming my Jaden Daniels. Like, okay, like if there's a guy that could potentially, like all these other guys, I feel like I can win with, like I can actually like win the title with.
Yeah.
But like if I'm looking for a guy who could like leap into the top 3 quarterbacks, there's one guy and one guy only, Justin Fields. Because when people think of Justin Fields, they automatically go back to the Chicago days and they think about this guy doesn't pass. It has to all be with his legs.
Not the first 6 games of the
exactly. And guess what he was doing with just his legs?
Yeah.
He was a top 10 quarterback, like points per game, just with his legs.
Mm-hmm.
If you pay attention to the coach speak, they're going to run the ball. But if you pay attention to the coach speak, they keep talking about how we want him to be a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
We trust him.
So they believe him.
They believe him. They played in that division with him. They had to play against him. They watched him run buckshot on him.
Yeah.
So do they have the receiving options? I don't know. But this is a team where, like, you know how you get that quarterback in the new offense, or you get that rookie quarterback who nobody's seen, nobody has tape on, people haven't figured out. You get them for that first year and they just blow up.
Mm-hmm.
This is that year. If you don't get the Justin Fields blow up year, you're probably not going to get it the rest of his career. Like if he ever has a blow up year, this is the year.
Yeah.
This is the year to get him, and he's going late enough to where you can get him and he can bust, and you can get a JJ McCarthy. You can pair him with Dak. You can pair him with Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
You can Geno Smith. Thank you for putting me on here.
I'm gonna make Geno Smith fan club
because he goes so late. Yeah, yeah.
It's not even that he goes late. Like I should not feel this comfortable about like the idea of like being able to start Geno Smith.
Yeah.
In the year. But like imagine Justin Fields running, and now if we add in passing too as well, like it could get nasty.
Yeah.
It could get nasty.
So one thing I will say about the elite quarterback strategy is the reason why I do kind of like it this year. And first of all, quarterbacks not being taken like the second round like they have in the past. Like we're past that. Like that used to be crazy. But when you take an elite quarterback, it's like you can build a team where you have these high-end players in these one-off positions, and you could use the season to try to figure out how to fill those other pieces.
Yeah.
And there's waiver wire ads all throughout the season. Now, last year was an outlier in my opinion. Like people aren't getting hurt as much as we would expect, and maybe that's a new trend. Maybe modern medicine's changed. Maybe players are taking care of their body better. Maybe the fact that the NFL has implemented rules where people don't practice as hard, or all of that stuff. Maybe it's changed the outlook as far as people possibly getting hurt. But if we revert back to the type of NFL where players are getting hurt very often, and you have those one-off high-end positions, and you're able to draft a guy late or get a guy on the waiver wire that can fill in a big hole, it's like you have this major advantage. So you have this quarterback that can go crazy, and then you have this crazy waiver wire ad. So that's the one thing that kind of makes me, interested in taking the elite quarterbacks. And I think these elite quarterbacks, they can really kind of score so high where it's worth it. But I do like those late quarterbacks. Like I like the McCarthys, I like the May, like I said. So I definitely, and I like Purdy. Like you kind of put me on Purdy a little bit. I kind of been looking at him a little bit more. So.
Drake May is that for me. Like has the running ability. I think they believe in him in a passing game. They're trying to get him more weapons because they do believe in him.
Like
I think Drake May can be that late round.
Like who's going late? Trevor Lawrence. I'm not even a Trevor Lawrence fan or think he's that great. But if Liam Cohen is great of offensive mind, everybody says. They got Brian Thomas, a first round pick. Hunter, his name Hunter is going in the top 4 or 5 rounds. And y'all know I've been banging the De'Ami Brown drum like crazy. Brenton Strange, everybody likes him. I don't know what's happening in the run, but if that offense is what everybody expects, it has to be Lawrence putting them there.
And that defense, I'm not expecting that defense to really be good.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we did a team spotlight on our last episode.
We're giving a lot today. We still going.
One more topic before we get out of here. Let's talk about the Patriots receiving room. Listen, Diggs, I don't know how he has come back and looked as good as he does, but Butte has
superhuman, man.
Superhuman. Butte has looked good so far early on in camp.
You got him right.
Was that?
Cardi B
got him right.
Let's talk about this Patriots receiving room. Let's get in, get out. Rank the Patriots receiving room. How do you guys see them at this point? What do you guys see like the depth chart going at this point with the Patriots?
I'm gonna go. We going full season.
Full season.
I'm gonna go Diggs, I'm gonna go Hunter Henry.
Yeah, the tight ends. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Diggs. I'm going Hunter Henry. I'm going Trevion Henderson. And then
we had a running back. Are we doing everybody?
You said receive. He said, "Oh, you just receiving,
Okay,
just receiving
okay.
room." You didn't say wide receiver, receiving room. I'm going Trevion Henderson, number 3, and then I don't think the rest don't matter to me.
Oh wow!
But if I got to rank them,
out, man. Let's do
okay. If I got
let's do the receivers.
Okay, Diggs. Man,
Just top three.
Diggs. I will give you, because this is directly due to him. I will say Butte, number 2.
Okay.
That's all you. Number 3, I'm gonna say Douglas. Number 4, even though everybody's high on Kyle Williams, I just, very smart people bring up very good points about, let's remember who the coach is. Let's remember who the head coach is, Mike Vrabel. And you're just throwing a rookie out there. What position is he gonna play? Like how, what role is he really going to have in this offense? Are you really putting him in this offense to have a key role his first year? I don't know if Vrabel's rolling like that. I don't know if Josh McDaniels rolling like that. So that has really kind of – and he's just going high. I think a lot of that, too, is just like, man, I don't want to pay that price in that situation. And we still don't even know how good the team is going to be and how much they're going to be passing the ball.
Yeah.
Like, you got Vrabel, who's like historically run, Derrick Henry type. And then you have Josh McDaniels, who, I mean, he did what he did with the head coach, but like as an offensive coordinator has been, I would assume, a lot more balanced. Like, who wins out there? Or like, what does that look like? So that's where I have it.
So I have so I want to start with Diggs, or is that a cop out? I'll start with Diggs right now. Right now, or by the end of the season?
By the end of the season. Just season long. Who's gonna finish?
It's a thing. Like Abby said, the season's about quarters, right?
Yeah.
Start out one way, ends totally different.
End of the season. Because I think most people care about that.
I'll go end of the season.
Yeah.
Kyle Williams number 1.
All right.
I'll put Kyle Williams number 1. I will put Diggs number 2.
Okay.
Even though I'll put Diggs number 2. Butte number 3. Actually, I'm sorry. Demario Douglas number 3. Butte number 4. Bourne number 5.
Matt Collins still. Matt Collins is over there now.
Matt Collins there?
Yeah.
Matt Collins is with the Patriots?
Efton Chisholm number 6.
Who?
Efton Chisholm.
Oh, yeah, he getting a lot
All right. Now we've gone too far.
That's New Edelman. That's the new, what's his name? Lab McConkey.
I guess what I'm saying is I think he's going to make the team.
Yeah.
If he makes the team, they're not going to keep more than 6-7.
Damn, so Polk gone?
Oh, yeah. Polk, I don't think they spent a high second-round pick. I don't think they're going to give up on him so early.
Javon Baker?
Baker, I think, might be a wrap.
Oof, man. Damn.
But Baker, if they waive him, they can put him on the practice squad. I don't think Baker is at risk of another team picking him up.
Yeah.
So he'll probably still remain on the team, and he's still young. He's still going to work with them. But yeah, I don't think Matt Collins makes the team.
Yeah, Matt Collins probably won't make.
Yeah, Matt Collins can block. I mean, that may be a Mike Vrabel pick. Like, I want somebody out here who can block.
He's happy too. Like, he's kind of
a blocking is like, again, if it's Mike Vrabel and he wants his receivers to block, like, that's a big thing. Like, Jalen Polk is not blocking. I don't know about Keyshawn Booth. I mean, they maybe like mentally, like, is he like gonna be getting it? Diggs never been like a great blocker, but I
think Keyshawn Booty, I think he can do it because he has the size.
Yeah,
it's if he wants to do it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Right? So Matt Collins wants to do it.
Yeah,
with no shoes on.
Yeah, I don't remember if Josh.
No shoes on.
I don't remember how much Josh McDaniels' offense relies on the receivers to block.
That's the thing. Is like, what does Vrabel want to do?
You don't think it's Josh McDaniels?
I think it's Josh McDaniels, but Vrabel's still the head coach.
Think he's gonna have influence on it?
He has to, because if Josh McDaniels like, I just want to pass, or I want to be like, more pass heavy, and I want to run plays very quickly with this offense, with this young offense, this unproven offense, with this young quarterback. I think Vrabel's gonna be like, look, bro, like, no, like, we have Ramondre Stevenson here. You can use Trevion Henderson, but like, let's rely on our defense. Like, I think he spent a lot of money on the defense, and he's going to get the most out of his defensive players. He is really much a players coach, X's and O's, like getting the most out of his players. So they were already a decent defense last year. Like now with Mike Vrabel at the helms, like if he's able to bring what he did with the Titans as far as like getting this defense to really kind of come together, they have like pieces on that defense. They have some elite pieces on that defense.
So the reason why I did say Kyle Williams number one, I don't think the season will start that way, but I think he'll get comfortable throughout the season. I think he does have the talent.
He does.
And I think they're going to at some point feel like they're going to try to utilize him more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying so much because of the draft capital that they spent on him, but they're going to see something special in him. I don't think those like Bootsy maybe has a couple more years left, and they can kind of get out of that. Matt Collins, I'm sure, is on like a 1 or 2 year contract.
Yeah.
Bourne, I don't think he's on a long contract at all. Douglas, he was drafted by the previous regime.
Yeah.
So I think Kyle Williams will be somebody once they see something, once he starts to get comfortable, they'll start actually trying to use him more in the offense.
All right, man. So we ran through a lot of topics this week.
Sleepers.
All right.
Real quick. I think there's some tight ends that we're totally ignoring.
Mm-hmm.
I think Stone Smart for the Jets is being ignored because everybody believes Mason Taylor is the guy, and he possibly can be, but if he's not, it's Stone Smart. Okay, and people forget, like, just signed him from the Chargers. He has like a wide receiver build. So he has the skill set. And then going on the other side of the coast, Tyler Conklin. I guess they kind of swap positions, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He
Tyler
was not
Conklin
drafted.
with the Chargers, I think might be the starter there. Because if you really think who's the starter there,
He's definitely the starter there.
Yeah.
I don't think he's being drafted that way.
He did not get drafted. I have a ton of Tyler Conklin.
So you do?
Especially because I'm in the FFPC. And again, that first look, and guess who he's playing that first week?
Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Chiefs has the same defensive coordinator. They had pretty much the same defensive players. And historically, they have been one that has been a tight end funnel.
Look at you going deep into it. Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry. 2 more.
Either him or Grant.
Y'all know I love
Played
Juwan
the
Johnson.
outro music already, but go ahead.
Y'all know I love Juwan Johnson. Draft him, and then Harold Finn.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I love him.
Please like, rate, subscribe. We're out, man.
Boom.